Okay, let's talk real for a second. Most drone crashes, they don't happen mid-flight. They actually happen before the drone ever leaves the ground. Wrong settings, weak signal, a sketchy launching spot, or something as simple as forgetting to pull off an ND filter before you power on your drone. Now, I've been there, and honestly, it's painful every single time. So what I want to do today is walk you through my DJI Neo 2 pre-flight checklist, every single step I've run through before every single flight, whether it's a short, quick clip or a full day out of flying. And this isn't just for beginners. Even if you've been flying for years, having a solid routine is what separates the pilots who really have an issue from the ones who are always dealing with something. So let's get right into it. Now, before we even think about powering anything on, the first thing we should do is a physical check of the drone itself. I know this sounds basic, but you'd be surprised how many people skip this and regret it. So first, we'll check the battery. We make sure it's properly situated and seated in. Even if it's slightly loose, this can disconnect mid-flight, and that's not a situation you want to be in at 200 feet up in the air. Next is propellers. We want to give each one a look. If there's any chips, cracks or bending, we want to replace it straight away. Propellers are cheap, but a crashed drone isn't. We want to run our fingers along each arm, checking for cracks or any stress marks, especially if the drone's had any hard landings recently. Also, we want to check the gimbal. We want to move it by hand slightly and make sure it moves freely in all directions. Any resistance or grinding means that something's wrong before you even take off. And if you have one, always check the transceiver screws. We want to make sure they're secure and tight, as vibrations from some flights can often loosen the screws over time. And the last thing is to remove ND filters before powering on. The reason for this is that DJI calibrates the camera's exposure during the initial startup. Now, if an ND filter is already blocking the lens when that happens, well then the calibration gets thrown off slightly, and your exposure readings will be thrown off your entire flight. Now, this is an easy mistake that most pilots don't know that they're making, but now you know. So pull that filter off first before you power on. Okay, now we've done the drone itself. Next up is something a lot of pilots don't give enough thought for, as to where we're actually launching from. This matters more than people realize. So you want to do a slow scan of the area around you. Trees, power lines, fences, anything that the drone could clip on the way up or on the way back down. This is where you want that clean line of sight in every direction. Also, people nearby, you want to keep them back, not just for legal reasons, but because of prop wash. The downward air pressure from the rotors can kick up dust, gravel, leaves, whatever's on the ground, and it goes everywhere. And the same goes for dogs, animals and small children. They often move unpredictably, so you want to move your launch position if needed. And speaking of prop wash, this brings me to the launch mat. If you're taking off on the bare dirt, sand or even a dusty car park, you want to use a landing mat. I mean, I always do. Now, fine dust and debris can get sucked up into the motors, into the gimbal, and over time this causes real damage. A landing mat that costs around $10 to $20 to fix an expensive problem down the road, yeah, I'd prefer get a landing mat. Okay, let's talk about setting up your controller with your phone or the goggles and an FPV controller. Okay, now let's talk about setting up the controller. First thing we want to do is max out our phone brightness. The full brightness and no exceptions. When you're flying line of sight with your phone in a controller, the screen is your eyes on the drone. You need to see what the camera sees, check your altitude, monitor your signal, and if the sun is hitting the screen at the wrong angle and your brightness is on auto, well then you're flying half blind. You don't want to risk it. So always make sure that your phone is set to maximum brightness. We also want to make sure that the cable between your phone and the controller is properly plugged in on both sides. A loose cable means a delayed or a dropped video feed. Now this is the last thing you want when you're navigating around obstacles or you're at a height, because who wants a feed loss when you're flying? Let's also talk about your phone in the mount. Now you want to get this secured in properly. If your phone is wobbling or loose in the bracket while you're flying, well then this is a major distraction and it can disconnect. And finally, the controller battery. Now I know this one is obvious, but it's easy to forget. We want to check it before we head out not while we're on location or flying. Maybe charge it a few hours or even the night before you need it. But if you're going full FPV, this setup changes a little. Now, we want to check the battery level on the goggles. Same as the controller, we want to check this first. Simple, but it's critical. We want to check your antennas. Now, this one really matters. We want to make sure both antennae are fully and properly attached. If they're not seated right, you can lose a massive chunk of your signal range. And that's not a subtle difference, it's genuinely significant. When it comes to lenses, we want to give them a quick wipe. Any smudging or dust on the lenses is going to be right in your face for the entire flight. Now, 30 seconds with a lens cloth saves you a lot of frustration mid-flight. Now, if you're flying with an SD card, is it in? Or is there enough space on it? You want to check it, not just after you filmed the best shot of the day and realize you have no space or no SD. Also, channel connection. Make sure that you're connected on the correct channel and that you've got a confirmed video feed before launch. Don't assume, confirm. And one more thing on the goggles, get the comfort fit right. Get them adjusted properly before you start flying. If you're wearing these things for the full flight and if they're too tight or too loose or just sitting awkwardly, it's going to affect how you fly. Take an extra minute just to dial in the comfort of your headgear. Let's talk about satellite GPS lock. Now, this section matters a lot from a safety standpoint, so pay attention. Watch that satellite count on the screen, and once it hits a solid number and you get that home point set confirmation, either through the app or through an audio cue for the controller or the headset, well then you're good. And here's why this is so important. If you launch before the GPS lock, your drone's return to home location might not be properly set. It could be set in the wrong location entirely, and if anything goes wrong mid-flight and the return home kicks in, well then you want it coming back to you, not someone's random pond in the back garden nearby. This step maybe takes 60 seconds and it's worth every one of them. I'd rather be safe than sorry. So before every flight, I always do a quick run through of the core safety settings, even if I flew the same drone yesterday. Now, return to home height. This needs to be set higher than the tallest obstacle in your area. Flying near buildings, you want to set it way above that roof level. If you're near trees, get it way above the canopy. Return home doesn't know what's in the way, so you have to tell it. With the advanced return to home, we want to make sure that this is configured correctly for your environment. It's worth understanding what it does before you rely on it. Max altitude. Know the legal limit for your area, set it accordingly, and in most of the UK and EU, that's 120 meters above ground level. Now in the US, that's 400 feet. So set it and stick to it. Now when it comes to camera setup, now we get into the fun part, getting your camera dialed in before you fly. For most situations, I'm shooting at 4K at 30 frames per second. Now that's a solid, versatile starting point. And this connects directly to shutter speed, which brings me to the 180-degree shutter rule. The rule is simple. Your shutter speed should always be double your frame rate. So if you're shooting at 30 frames per second, your shutter speed should be 1/60th of a second. If you're shooting at 60 frames, well then you want that at 1/120. This keeps your motion natural and cinematic. When your shutter speed is too high, the movement looks choppy and clinical. And when it's too low, everything smears. Doubling the frame rate gives you that sweet spot right where you need it. Also, ISO. We want to keep this as low as possible. Ideally, the base ISO for your conditions. The higher the ISO, the more digital noise creeps into your image. And with a small sensor like the Neo 2, you'll definitely notice it. So get these settings dialed in before you're even in the air, not while you're trying to fly at the same time. Remember when we removed the ND filter at the start? Well, this is when it goes back on, after everything else is set up. Now, there's no other way of saying it, but ND filters are just basically sunglasses for your camera. They reduce the amount of light that's hitting the sensor, which lets you keep that 180-degree shutter reel without massively overexposing in bright conditions. Here's a rough guide to get you started. ND8, overcast days, soft natural light. You want to switch to an ND16 if it's partly cloudy or mixed light, and you want to put on an ND32 for bright sunshine, full midday light or summer sun. After a while, you'll get a feel for which ones you need as you shoot more often. And if you're unsure, you want to start lighter, you can always swap up to a stronger filter, but you can't rescue a blown out exposure in post. So once you've got your camera settings and your filter on, you're close to ready to fly. This brings us to a battery time safety check. There's one quick but important check. Always make sure that your available flight time is longer than your planned shot. I mean, I know it sounds obvious, right? But it's easy to get caught up in a shoot and push your drone just a little bit further. And suddenly you're at 20% and you're rushing your landing. So my personal rule is, if I'm flying and I'm planning a 6-minute flight, I want to see at least 8 to 9 minutes of battery time on the screen before I take off. That buffer gives me room for unexpected situations, a longer than planned shot, or just a clean and relaxed landing without any stress. Now the drone's going to give you a warning when the battery's getting low, but by the time that warning hits you, you want to be already on your way down, not still out flying. We're almost there, and this is the last step before we go, and that is flight path. Do one final scan of the area. Has anything changed since you set up? Has someone walked their dog into the landing zone, or has a car pulled up nearby? Just have a quick check around. Recording, start it now, before takeoff, because it's easy to get in the air and nail a perfect shot and then realize you wasn't recording the whole time. So start it on the ground and let it run. We also want to give your obstacle sensors a check. Are they active? Are they obstructed? On one final thing, are they clean? Now this one is less of a technical checklist and more of a pilot mindset. If you're calm and focused and you know your plan, well, that's the state you want to be in before you're taking off. So if everything checks out, we're taking off. And that's it. That's my full routine. So if you're new to flying, I genuinely believe that building a strong pre-flight habit like this is one of the most valuable things that you can do. It only takes a few minutes, but it removes a huge amount of risk. Crashes, lost drones, dodgy footage, and accidentally breaking regulations that you didn't even know applied. And even if you've been flying for a while, it's always worth checking on your habits again. Even experienced pilots cut corners, and corners are where things go wrong. So if this was useful for you in any way, I'm also putting together a downloadable version of this checklist that you can keep in your drone bag or on your phone, and I'll leave a link to that in the description below. Now, before we move on, I want to give a massive shout out to Mr. Beer Can for this video idea. He dropped a suggestion and even structured out the video for me. So I thought, you know what, we have to make this happen. So if you guys have any ideas like this, keep them coming to this channel. I absolutely love it when you guys get involved and help shape the content of this channel. So this one is for you, bro. So if you've got a specific section you want me to dive deeper on, camera settings, ND filters, flying regulations, let me know in the comments. I read everything and I try my best to get back to everybody. And if you feel like you got any type of value whatsoever, can you please hit that like button and smash subscribe, as it really helps my channel get out there to a lot more drone pilots. I'm Adam from Drone and Lens, and I can't wait to connect with you in the next video.